ago. Right? It's a prime example of some of the things I'd like to get you thinking about tonight. The only thing that separates you folks from those folks is a zip code. They're all American citizens, just like you and me, living in a major American city. If it can happen there, it can happen here. Okay. Topic today, reverse preparedness. I might leave that first row of lights out if we can. Can everybody see?
Mm-hmm.
See the first row of lights?
Bless you.
Yeah. All right, chance favors the prepared mind. I'm a 20-year Army Reserve guy, 15 years law enforcement down the city. Primarily, I specialize in counter-terror now, 9/11 responder, and some of these things are just over years of knowledge I've accumulated and I like to pass on because I've seen people just not prepared to help themselves, waiting on government to come and rescue them, as many as folks in Katrina did. And as we can see, we can't always depend on government to come in and rescue us in time. Okay, we got to look out for ourselves, we got to look out for our families. Some of the learning objectives today, I'd like to talk about everyday disasters. With that, there's corresponding equipment and goodies and gear. I've got some examples that we can come and take a look at later on. Bug out bags, weathering the storm, things 72-hour kits when you've got to leave your home for, say, a 3-day span, which is what you'll hear the FEMA commercials these days. Get a kit, get a plan. Has everybody heard those? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, that's basically the government, again, telling you that they're not going to be able to help you for probably about 3 days. And more on that magic number. Getting out of Dodge, what you have to keep home, and major disasters preparing. See an acronym down the bottom, it's very scary. It just stands for the end of the world as we know it. Common phrase among the prepper community. Some of the doomsday prepper shows nowadays. Okay, everyday disasters. 9/11. It's fitting that we're here on the eve of one of the biggest disasters in recent history. 9/11, a lot of people got up and went to work, and their lives changed forever. Everybody's life changed forever. But for the folks down there, a lot of them were showing up with their lunch bag and not much else. What could have helped them, or may help, is having a small bag. Try to pull an everyday bug out bag, a small bag of packs that you carry with you in your car, on your person, that you keep it at work and in your office. And this is some basic everyday emergency items. You might want to have water, a first aid kit, Leatherman multi-tool, something like that up there, a small face mask. We're starting to see a lot of cancers that have come out 9/11. A lot of these things could have been prevented by simple N95 dust masks, okay, just to keep the particles out. You don't know what the disaster is going to be, but a little bit of preparedness goes a long way. Water, small amounts of money, flashlight, a whistle, perhaps you're trapped, you can signal to somebody. These are just some small items. Again, I apologize for the small print, you can't see it, but we can get copies out to folks. Small items that you can carry in a small pack. I have an example of one up here that I carry to work. Mine is geared more towards law enforcement, but again, it's just a small bag, a lace-sized lady's purse that you can carry or have in your car or keep at your desk at work. With a couple of preparedness items that may make the difference between life and death, make you a little bit comfortable in an emergency situation. Weathering the storm. Okay, up here we had a lot of snowstorms, the nor'easters. We just had tornadoes touch down in Brooklyn, up on the Rockaways, through the Queens area. Okay, could happen here. Right? You know, when these disasters hit, store shelves tend to empty. Who here on the eve of an oncoming blizzard, you know, there's going to be a blizzard, everybody runs to the store, shelves are cleared out, and we deal with that all the time. We're in upstate New York, okay? If people empty out a store because of a blizzard, something that we deal with all the time, imagine how it's going to be on a much larger disaster. And stores, I don't know if folks know this, are on an end-to-end system. So if you buy a can of SpaghettiOs today, as soon as it crosses the checkout and the clerk scans it, that store is ordering more SpaghettiOs. Now the consequences of this is that stores don't keep more than a 3-day supply on hand. If you go to ShopRite, it's not a big warehouse behind the store and then everything on the store shelves. What's on those shelves is what's on those shelves. So it may be a few days before these places resupply. Right? More rural areas, the bigger the problem. Except in rural areas, a lot of folks are self-sufficient. Right? We have everything at our grasp here on any given day. But in case of emergency, we may not have that. Okay, so weathering the storm, people panic buy. What I want you folks to do is to be prepared ahead of time. I want you to prepare for a minimum of 72 hours. Okay? You can put together a little kit that you can keep to sustain you and your family. Water, 3 gallons per person per day for drinking and hygiene. Don't forget your pets, small children. All right? You're not going to go more than 3 days without water. Okay? So let's say United Water goes down and the water's not clean, it's not flowing. You'll have a minimum of 3 days to get you through to maybe help comes, or you figure out a way to start purifying on your own. Right? In the midst of a crisis, that you may not be able to start purifying your own water immediately, but at least you'll have something ready to go to make sure that you're not dying of dehydration. Food, okay, a stock pantry, right? Easy, ready-made meals. They require little more thought. Can opener, a hand crank can opener. Who still has those? Everybody have those? All right. These aren't magical preparedness tools. These are just things that people used to have before we had all the conveniences of everything electric or pull top. So you want to have be able to just go into your own cabinets and pull out canned foods that is ready-made, a can of chunky soup or so whatever it is, that it's just ready to go. No thought, okay? And keep these things stocked. Again, we have to kind of be our own warehouse in these cases. All right? We may not be able to go out to the store for a few days if you're snowbound, if there's trees down on your street. And again, it doesn't have to be a major catastrophe. It just has to be enough of a catastrophe to affect you and your own little world. Medications. Most of us need to take medications, over-the-counter medications, prescription medications. Try to building up a small reservoir of a few days' worth, maybe in a small jars inside of one of your kits. Especially diabetics. Anybody who uses heart medication. Okay, you don't want to be down to your last pill, and now you can't get these medications that you need to survive. Right, so these are some things to think about when you're building that. What we call a 72-hour kit, to get you through weathering the storm. All right. Hardware, tools, first aid kits. All right. These things, hand tools. People, again, everybody has power tools now. Nobody has hand tools anymore. These are just things that you can leave. Small first aid kits, things that you can buy in Walmart. Have on hand, ready to go in case those little injuries that you'll be able to handle at home, as opposed to, say, waiting on government resources, having to get to the hospital. Heating, power, are you grid dependent? A lot of folks have fireplaces, wood stoves are excellent. Okay, generators, fuel cell generators. Those again, back to medication, insulin dependent. You need refrigeration. Okay, so for your medication, you're going to need power for that. So that's something for you, your own personal preparedness situation. You may need to invest in a generator and keep that refrigerator going, because that for you will be a matter of life and death. Lighting, emergency lighting. I like chem lights. They're small, they're little plastic, they glow, they last for 8 to 12 hours. Candles are great, but candles can start a fire. And if you've got to wait for the local fire company to come after they're responding everywhere else, it may be a while. So let's go with chem lights as opposed to candles. Not to say they don't have candles, but they're great. Or LED lanterns, flashlights, batteries. Okay, you can have all the flashlights in the world. If you don't have batteries, it's not going to help you. Again, these are just things that you might want to have in a 3-day kit to help you get through your average power outage. Again, big storm, O&R can't get the lights on. You'll be ready. You're not going to have to be rescued from your own home. stuff, you're thinking, I've got this around the house. How many of you could put a finger on it? I have kids. I have, I have to find a flashlight. I'll keep 10 so I know where I can find one, because the little guys that like to play with things. You don't want to be in the middle of a blackout in the winter. Now all of a sudden you're like, where did I put that those tools? Where's the chainsaw at? Where's the flashlight? I can't even make my way to the generator, let alone get it running. So you want to just again try to keep this in a centralized place. Maybe I like to use my trunk as a coffee table, but here maybe it's a closet that you have some of your items in. You're more in a central, some of your more obscure items you keep centralized. This way it's there and it's ready when you need it. It's not saying you can't use it day to day, but you'll have it. All right, there's going to be times when you're going to have to leave or get out of Dodge. Okay, so that will have something we'll call it our good bag or a good kit. All right, let's say Indian Point. We don't live around Indian Point, big nuclear facility. By the way, Fire Training Center here in Rockland will give you potassium iodide pills for radiation exposure in the event of an emergency. It's obviously not going to save your life if something's blowing up, but it will block radiation from your thyroid. Katrina, Occupy Wall Street turns into LA riots. Okay, there's plenty of potential for civil unrest now, which is you're here. I'm sure you're well-informed crowd. These things can turn on a dime. Okay, the LA riots. Again, American citizens. The only thing changes is the zip code. It can happen here. Okay. Any contracted state of emergency where you no longer feel safe to stay at home. That's when you want something that you can grab and go and get out of Dodge. All right? Don't reinvent the wheel. Build off your other kits. In fact, a good idea is to just take your other stuff, put it together, maybe throw it into your truck, car, and go. Water. At this stage of the game, you may want to have the ability to purify water. Right? And going through your 3 days worth that we talked about previously. Right? People need to learn to develop skills, and purifying water is one. I'll go through that with you folks at the end. I want to leave you with a skill. Portable meals, meals ready to eat, like the military uses. So we remember old rations, mountain house meals, things that you can buy at Costco. These items are ready to go at a moment's notice. They're used campers, hikers, backpackers. Folks who go camping like to use these things because they're small and portable. Well, you pack a few of these and you're ready to go. At least you get maybe another few days worth of food that's just strictly for emergency. You can't maybe empty out your pantry, but these things are light and ready to go. Portable cooking, fire, and fire-making abilities. Again, if you have to get out of your home for whatever reason, there's an evacuation. We saw these folks who failed to heed the calls to evacuate. You may inform, having sat through this by spiel, will know that you want to be able to leave the house and still have the ability to survive on the road if need be. Money, again, cash and small bills. I'm guilty. I walk around with a debit card everywhere I go. Swipe, 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 swipe. Nobody carries cash and coins anymore. But what happens when there's no electricity and the grid is down and they can't access your account because the banks decided to freeze? All right, we have a 1,000-point drop or whatever it is in the market, and there's a run on the banks. What do you have? Half a tank of gas in your car at all times in your vehicle. Who has that? All right? Good. Some do. But again, if you have to leave, is that the time of getting to be sitting on a gas line a mile long? All right? We see it all the time. Again, just big storms up here, a prime example. Everybody's rushing to that gas station to get gas for their tools, to get gas for their vehicles, and this is the time to not find yourself short or stranded on the road. Blankets, sleeping bags, camping equipment, family contact and communications plans. Okay, the gentleman. Again, it goes to something else that's further on the list, pre-coordinating. As he said, in case of blank, I'll build blank. on screen earlier. He couldn't find his wife. In a panic, everybody's leaving. Everybody may not be together when the balloon goes up. Okay? There's a disaster. 9/11, the towers go down. Mom's at home, dad's at work, kids at school. Where do I go? Not everybody's together. Right? So have a plan. In case of an emergency, we'll all meet at Grandma's house in New Jersey, or we'll all call Aunt so-and-so to let her to check in. If we can't get a hold of each other, we'll have a centralized person that we'll get a hold of. This way, it makes accountability amongst your family members a possibility. So nobody's worrying. So that just removes an additional stressor of the unknown, and whether they're worrying whether or not somebody made it out. Decks of cards, games for adults. If you're going to go out and get stuck out somewhere away from home, maybe into a shelter system, you want to have things to keep your mind occupied. Religious articles, scriptures, right? Don't abandon God. Don't abandon you. Portable radios. That's my guy, like I said, the Fire Training Center, more geared towards a nuclear event. Important documents and copies stored in waterproof containers. Okay, you're running out of the house. Now, do you have IDs, passports, prescriptions, anything that might be valuable? The deed to your house, the insurance that you're going to need once this is all over. All these documents, copies in Ziplocs, keep them in your kits, ready to go. Don't wait. If the government is telling you, and by government, I don't know if it's the town, it's the state, it's the feds, whoever, is telling you to leave, then it's time to either be prepared or be prepared and leave, because that means they're telling you that there's nobody coming to save you. All right? You are on your own. All right. The end of the world as we know it. All right, Mayan calendar, December 21st, 2012. Have you heard of that? Okay. Zombies, Walking Dead, we're watching. All kinds of crazy stuff. All right. It's probably not going to happen that way. Who knows? But zombies. It's hard to see the photo. That's a photo in Somalia. Okay. Again, more of the world is not Rockland County, New York. More of the world is Somalia. More of the world is parts of Mexico. And this side of the world, where there's folks starving, okay? Where there's groups of thugs running around with guns, where people are waiting on food convoys to be brought by the UN. Okay? More of the world is like this than is like here. And food shortages are a definite possibility. And preparing for the long haul, this is the ultimate in preparedness. This is preparing to create your own food, to sustain your family protracted without having all the conveniences that we have today. All right? This is where it means becoming fully self-sufficient. While it exists, there's a lot of knowledge out there in training. Okay, you can get on, you can Google a lot. You can take a class. You can go to you can get a first aid class, an EMT course. Any sort of knowledge you can get now, because you can have all the toys in the world. If you don't know how to use them, they're not going to help you. Okay, learn how to store food, canning. Back in the day, folks did canning as a regular way of doing business. All right, storing food from a harvest to make it last the year round. We don't do it anymore. For the most part, most folks don't do it anymore. This is stuff that was once commonplace that we need to get a handle on again. Backyard suburban homesteading. Since the economic crisis, sales at Home Depots and these garden centers have increased, with people putting in their own gardens, folks learning how to raise chickens or rabbits for meat. These items, things that can sustain a family, just off of your own yard, if need be. Self-defense and weapons. Learn now. Take a class and a regular gives classes, there's local gun shops, maybe it's something in a local martial arts place. Don't wait. So one of the first things that happens once everything breaks down is people turn on each other. Right? The wolves start to prey on the sheep. Don't be the sheep. So the cops can't be everywhere. And seconds count, police are only minutes away. I know. Okay. Get fit. That's the hard part. I'm no action star, but try to exercise now, because if you can't run a block or move or keep going, as soon as you put the stress of a survival situation in your lap, you're going to see a lot of folks starting to drop. While you can get out there, and doesn't have to be anything crazy, start walking. Just simple things, you know, that can translate into saving your life in an emergency situation. Investing in tangibles. I'm not an investment advisor, but tangibles is items, things that you can use. You know, if you have a little extra money, money's tight. Again, put it away. You know, buy it, and instead of buying a luxury, maybe buy an extra couple cans of whatever it may be, food items. Maybe get that first aid kit instead of putting it off. You don't have to go anywhere special. A lot of these items you can't find them on the internet. You can find them in local hardware stores, sporting goods stores. Nothing crazy. You can use the internet to shop supplies. It helps you compare prices at the minimum to avoid overpaying, and use it as a knowledge tool. There's a lot of guides out there if you want some reading material. There's a lot of websites. I personally like Survival Blog. James Wesley Rawls, this guy's a former military intelligence officer. Again, this is the Red Cross. Okay, just get on there and do your research now. I'm by no means be able to teach you everything, and that's why we breeze through a lot of stuff. But I want you to think that you don't want to be drain, and two, you know, you keep yourself alive, keep your family and your friends. All right. You can't prepare for everything, but chance favors to prepare your mind.